Alright, welcome back to another Sledgehammer Tie-Dyes episode. Today I'm going to be making one of my favorite ways to do a spiral. So the way that I like to do it, it's a gravity ice and followed by a hot water immersion. So we're going to start off with some forceps. You just want to find where you want to put the center of that spiral. I usually go just a little bit below the armpits, kind of in the middle right here. Pinch that guy up. Make sure you're kind of roughly centered with the collar. Kind of use that as a guide. But you can put this wherever you want. If you want to start the spiral over here or in the corner, it is totally up to you. So we're going to clamp those forceps down. You don't need to go all the way with the forceps. You're just holding it in place. You're not trying to squeeze the life out of it down here. And so we're just going to start spinning it together, and I'm pulling the shirt in with my fingers as I'm going, because what you don't want to do is end up ripping a hole right in the center of your shirt. And trust me, it can and will happen if you just grab this sucker and start spinning. So we just kind of want to start it off. And right about now, we want to grab out our pleating device. Again, I just use a cuticle pusher, and we're wanting to lay these guys over to where you can see as much of those pleated spirals as possible. Whenever you get these taller pleats like this, I always try to come in and knock them back down, maybe turn them into 2 pleats. And then you'll see areas like right here where another pleat is forming, and I just try to encourage that. And as you're making your spiral, you want to be pulling out and then around on the shirts, so that way you can get as tight of a spiral in the center as you can. Because if it's real loose, then you're not going to have a very, I don't want to say impressive, but it's going to be less of a swirl around, and it'll just be kind of like a slant in. So the more you pull that shirt and twist that shirt around, the more spins you're going to have on your spirals. So now we've got it to about right here, we're actually pretty much done with the forceps, because from here on out I can just use my palm to kind of hold everything in place. So I'm going to undo the forceps and then just kind of lightly pull up. And there it goes, popped right out. So I'm just going to continue pulling out and then around as I go. Okay, so there we go. And I'm gonna be holding this together with rubber bands. I just got some nice long loose ones here. And I'll just start throwing them on, and then after we get them on, we can kind of adjust things to make things as perfect as we want them. Okay, so there we have it all pleated up, spun up. Now I'm going to grab some cardboard and wrap this guy up. Okay, so now that we've got our cardboard ready to go, you just want to make sure you find a good place on the edge of the shirt where you don't have a bunch of like crumpled up bits. So I think I'm going to use this part right here, and I'm going to have that facing upwards because that's where I'm going to be placing my die. So let's go ahead and flip this on over to wrap it up. And you want to have it kind of towards the bottom here, but not all the way at the bottom. You want to leave some space for, knocking the camera around, sorry about that. You want to leave some space at the bottom for everything to drip through, and also to keep this from actually touching the rack. So we got it wrapped up. Now we're just going to tape it up. So that's basically it. So you can see we got our shirt down there. And then what we're gonna need is we're gonna need a rack to put this on. You see it already kind of stands up on its own. But we want a rack and a few forceps to pin around it to where it doesn't move. All right, so we got the rack. All right, so now if you're having issues trusting that this stays upright, what you can do is take more tape and just go around the outside of those forceps to keep everything standing straight. All right, so now I know that's not going anywhere. So it's a little tall to do on camera here, but I'm going to be putting 2 colors on this guy. And those colors are going to be Moonstone and Butterbeer, both from Happy Cat Tie-Dyes. These are new dyes for me. I haven't really seen what they do, so this is a total experiment. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dropping down the dye, 1/2 Moonstone, the other half Butterbeer, and then we're going to sprinkle some soda ash on top and fill this guy with ice, and then we're going to let that melt. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up. Okay, so a quick little update before I throw on the soda ash. This is kind of what it looks like. Just going to drop that dye right down on top. So now I'm going to put some soda ash down and fill this sucker up with ice. Okay, so as you can see, the ice has pretty much finished melting through. So now we're going to put a little bit more dye on top of this and then throw some hot soda ash water through this guy. All right, so I added a little bit more of the dye back on top, and now I have a couple of cups here of hot water mixed with about a 1/4 cup of soda ash. This water is about 170 degrees about. And we're just gonna go ahead and pour this right through. All right, so now we're just gonna let it sit for about an hour, and then we'll come back to do the rinse out. Okay, so it's been about an hour since we let the hot water go through. So let's pull this guy out and start the rinse out. All right, so this is what it looks like before the wash. Looks pretty sick. Now let's throw it in the wash and see what comes out. Okay, here it is out of the wash. And what do we think? Well, the moonstone sure is gorgeous. I love this color. So some of the darker areas up here, that's going to be where we did the ice dye. And then the more feathery bits that you get, that's from pouring that hot water through. The butterbeer is kind of more just like a brown, like a caramel brown, which is a nice color. I do like it, but I want to see what it can do under other circumstances, like maybe like a tall deep scrunch. I want to see what that guy would do. But the moonstone, holy cow, that's pretty. But yeah, so this is what we got. I think it's pretty cool. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below if you got an idea of something that you want to see, maybe a color combination. But yeah, so leave a like, subscribe. But for now, Sledgehammer Tie-Dyes, out.